I'm your personalized nameplate, spelt just one letter wrong. My name is Daly. My pronouns are she, her.
If you have pink hair, I'm probably in love with you. My name is Rachel. My pronouns are she, her.
I'm the front man for the new hot band Frontman and Two Rats. My name's Liz, and my pronouns are they, them.
So this is just the fake ones. We talk about fictional murder. I was going to say and crime, but murder is crime.
Maybe other crimes in the future.
Sure. Heist movies, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't even consider heists a crime if it's cool enough to get away with it.
Yeah, you're watching a really cool heist movie, you forget they're doing something illegal.
Yeah.
If you're watching this episode, this is new. This is the first time we're recording to post video. And we've recorded this episode on 2 different days, so we are wearing different clothes. So you're gonna see some back and forth a little bit of different outfits, but don't worry about it. Just close your eyes.
Don't watch the video.
Like we never recorded a video podcast. Just go back to the audio. It's fine.
So today we're going to be talking about episode 12 and 13 of Hannibal, and I wanted to do it specifically like that so that those episodes run into each other a little bit. Not as much as I thought or remembered they did, but there is like the end of episode 12, and then you're like, what? And then the beginning of episode 13, and you're like, what? So
both of them really are like the season finale. It's not just the last episode, so.
And I also just specifically wanted to see your faces when you saw Will Graham vomit up Abigail's ear. So
yeah, did you enjoy our faces?
I loved it. I'm gonna put those printed out. It's great.
I wanted to get up and run around and do a backflip of anger.
Backflip of anger. Episode 12 opens with Will Graham in the hospital with Georgia Madgen, and they have a little chat because she's
doing better.
She's doing better, and she's in like an oxygen tube.
And her skin's all healed up, or mostly, and her arm's getting better. Her hair's nice and long and shiny.
Yep.
How much time has passed, do you think, between this episode and the last episode? Because she looks really good.
Will is still in the hospital. He's like in his hospital gown. He's in his hospital gown. And they talk about what's wrong with Will. And she makes a comment about how the doctors aren't ever going to find out what's wrong with him. They're just going to keep running tests and saying it's this thing and then putting him on medication and saying it's this other thing and then changing his medication, which is a very bleak view on the medical world, but for some people that's reality.
It's like hard to diagnose chronic conditions.
Yeah.
And who can afford all those doctor's appointments?
No. And then Hannibal goes and visits Will in the hospital, and they talk about Georgia, and I think Hannibal decides that keeping her alive is a liability because she thinks that what she saw happen to Dr. Sutcliffe
Yes.
was a dream. She says that she dreamed Will Graham murdering him, but in reality she actually saw Hannibal murdering him. She just couldn't see his face, and Hannibal knows that she saw him murdering Dr. Sutcliffe. So if she does get well enough to be able to remember, despite the fact that she doesn't want to remember, he goes in one night while she's sleeping and gives her a plastic comb. And they say when they find her body that she wasn't wearing her bracelet to keep her grounded so that she doesn't conduct static electricity. I think he took her bracelet.
Probably had to.
Probably, yeah. I don't.
How did he get in there?
He just went in and opened it. I don't know.
She was sleeping?
She was sleeping, and he put a comb in her oxygen tank tube. I don't know the correct word. And
I have so many questions about how Hannibal does things. How did you do this?
Yeah. The other thing Will and Hannibal talk about before Hannibal goes and murders a woman is how Hannibal thinks Will has dementia. And because originally, what was it? Was he just saying that he was saying it was his mental health that was causing his issues? Mm-hmm. His hallucinations and loss of time.
Well, Bing says that dementia is a term for several diseases that affect memory, thinking, and the ability to perform daily activities. It's caused by damage or loss of nerve cells and their connections to the brain. There's many different types, and they give some examples. And so it sounds like
not really conclusive.
It's not really.
Not at all.
And Alana later is like, dementia is a symptom, not
since it's not really like a definitive disease.
Instead of just being like,
if he is having memory loss, I guess that would mean dementia regardless. If it's just a description of continued memory loss, and
it's like saying you have nausea. That's your condition, but that's
Yep.
Do you think he's trying to give him something so it seems like he's noticing that Will's getting worse, so that it doesn't feel like he's totally neglecting his job as one of his medical providers?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So after Georgia dies, which is just gruesome and awful, that's an awful way to die, Will and Jack talk about the BAU is there for some reason. There are characters, so we want them to be there, but I don't think the BAU would be there at her death. But Jack, with all the evidence that they've found, she's not wearing her bracelet, they assume that she killed herself because she's gonna be on trial for murder. She's getting better, but she does have an illness, and she murdered her high school friend. So Jack is just like, well, this, and this, she probably killed herself. And Will is like, I just talked to her. She wasn't suicidal. She was looking forward to getting better and getting everything over with. And Jack asks him if he really wants to be siding with somebody who's a convicted murderer. And this is where these situations and characters are frustrating because from Jack's perspective, she's just a murderer who just died in an oxygen tank. Right. It's not an oxygen tank. Who cares? So he's more concerned with the fact that Will is going and talking to somebody who they have a murder case against. But we on the outside know she did murder her friend. She didn't murder Dr. Sutcliffe, and she didn't kill herself. So those are the things that make Jack frustrating to me. But it's a weird thing to be frustrated about because I'm on the outside. I know what's actually going on. He's just doing his little FBI job.
But even so, with him knowing what he knows and Will saying that she didn't kill herself, and he's just questioning why they're getting together, and believes that she did kill herself. Will might be deteriorating, but they have hired him for his pure empathy and how he can understand situations. And that would probably extend to understanding the state that someone's in, whether or not that they were going to kill themselves, maybe.
Yeah.
Just because he talked to her and he knows how she's feeling and he can see, like, where she's at. So
it's like
he should know better than anybody whether she would have killed herself.
Exactly. It feels like in most situations, if you have something going on and then you hire a specialist for that situation, you're not the specialist. You're not going to be questioning the specialist in most situations. And obviously there are caveats, and definitely some specialists are probably really stupid people. But Will he's got Will there to be a specialist, to be able to step into murderer's shoes, and he has stepped into her shoes. He would know whether or not she was suicidal.
But Jack's also seen Will getting progressively worse over
that is true, exactly,
and like said to his face that he's doing bad, so he's probably questioning everything about Will.
For sure.
You know, he is questioning everything about Will.
Yeah.
But also, didn't Jack hear that Georgia was like actually mentally ill, and this was like caused by the mental illness, and like immediately jumping to believing that she's like a murderer and not like someone who committed manslaughter or whatever.
Yeah.
He's making some big steps, and
he always makes really big steps.
He does.
I feel like he would justify, like, it's his job to make big steps.
The recap that I'm referring to, using as reference, brings up a fun thing where, like, Freddie feels like what Abigail could become if she, like, kept going on the path that she's going on in this scene. And that makes it a little bit more interesting when Freddie says that really confusing line about how Abigail is like one of those very smart girls who hasn't quite figured out that very smart girls grow up to know the moves they make when they're trying to hide something.
Freddie and Abigail have met up to talk about Abigail's book that she's going to write about her dad, and they discuss what Abigail wants to name it. I think Freddie says she was thinking of naming it The Last Victim, and Abigail is like, well, I wasn't the last victim, because there was also Marissa, and it's written right here, hold on.
Cassie?
Boyle,
no.
Yeah. Marissa,
okay.
Because she considers the copycat killings to be also her dad's victims, and Freddie asks her, what about Nicholas Boyle, and Abigail doesn't consider Nicholas Boyle one of her dad's victims, and neither does Freddie. Well, Abigail says that Nicholas Boyle was his own victim because she's following the through line of, like, oh, he was the copycat, even though we know he wasn't, and she knows he wasn't, but she murdered him, and she's got to lie about it. And Freddie says that she considers Will Graham and Hannibal to be his... Hannibal? Or Jack? Will Graham and Jack, I think, to be his murderers because they were the ones who said he was the copycat, which is probably what got him killed. Because he wouldn't have been in that situation. That's exactly what it is. He wouldn't have been in the situation he was in to be, like, on the run from the police, and then he wouldn't have gone to Abigail for help, and she wouldn't have gutted him. So Freddie's hit a nail on the head there a little bit. Everybody's in awful situations, and they can't get out of it.
Yeah.
And Freddie talks about how she has had interviews with murderers before, and she's talked to Nicholas Boyle as well, and he did not give off the same energy as the murderers do, which makes me think, in talking to Abigail, does she get murderer energy from her?
Yeah. I think that's what part of her quote is referring to.
Because Freddie herself was a very smart girl making choices and decisions, and it has led her to where she is. So then we have Will Graham has checked himself out of the hospital, and he goes to see Jack, and Jack is like, "What are you doing here?" Will's like, "I checked myself out of the hospital," and Jack goes, "Well, check yourself back in." And Will... Is it this scene where Will has, like, a absolute brain blast and is like, all of these copycats that have been copycatting are the same copycat, and
I think so.
They're trying to frame me for murder for some reason, and, like, this is where, like, I can put myself in Jack's shoes to be like, I know you are unstable, and I care about you as a human, but you are saying some absolutely bizarre things to me. Because if I knew somebody, I could just, like, know within myself. If I knew somebody, and they said that to me, and I knew they were not always the most stable person, and suddenly they come to me and say they are being framed for murder. Oh, Will.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sounds like off the handle from the perspective of someone who is not watching the show. So someone in that situation. You know, he's worked on all these cases, and, you know, he's such a unique mind, and no one really understands how his brain works to begin with, and you know, they just kind of, anytime he says something weird, they're just like, oh, yeah, that's Will. You know, he's just a little extra today. But, yeah, then, yeah, if anyone said that, it would just, you would think he's just going too far. Like,
but we know he's right.
we know he's right.
Because we're watching the show.
Yeah, because we're
on the
show.
outside.
Yes. And I'm sure he already feels like he's not right.
Yeah.
Like everything's going on with him. So even though he sounds really confident when he's saying that, he probably also feels a little out there for making those claims.
So after Jack's conversation with Will, he goes to Hannibal to get some information about what's going on with Will, and he wonders if the way that Will feels about Abigail is affecting how he's seeing things. But it's still just that thing of, like, we know Hannibal is not the person to go to because Hannibal is in fact the copycat, and he's very interested in everything that's going on and all of these weird little strings that he's pulling, and so for Jack to go to Hannibal and be like, Will said this to me, what do you think about it? And Hannibal being like, how can I twist this to be fun little situations, and basically getting Jack to feel like, okay, yes, Will is unstable enough to be a danger.
I hate the position that Hannibal's in, where everyone comes to him about everything. Yeah. What?
For sure.
Oh, you mean like, did you think I was going to call him victim or
something? How did he get himself into this situation?
No, I just hate, like, how high of a position he is, where everyone comes to him for
people go to him for information.
Information. Yeah, everyone trusts him.
He's charming and he's trustworthy to their perspective. Yeah. He's
just always just one step ahead because everyone tells him everything. And it's just
Gross.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. And then after that, Jack goes to Hannibal's therapist, who they pronounce her name in one of these episodes, and it's Du Maurier, which I wonder if her name is Bedelia Du Maurier, but I wonder if they've named her after Daphne Du Maurier, who wrote, like, Rebecca.
Oh. Maybe.
Maybe. Or it's just
Very
a name that
possible.
they grabbed. And they go, and Jack is asking about Hannibal, and she's like, well, I'm not going to talk about Hannibal because he's one of my clients. And Jack is just basically there. Do they say something about needing to get a warrant or something?
I think so. And Jack's like, well, maybe we can avoid that. And
Yeah.
you can just tell me.
But that she's not, like, an actual psychologist therapist anymore, so it technically doesn't go against, but at the same time, even when you're not a therapist anymore, you can't talk about your patients.
The recap from, I guess I should say where it's from, is from denofgeek.com. Brings up that Du Maurier in this scene is talking a lot like Hannibal, and it, like, just the very, like, pulled back, trying to avoid any specifics, and they wonder if, like, they learned that from each other, or if, like, she learned it from Hannibal. And it kind of brings into question, like, their relationship before the attempted... Was that attempted murder or just an attack from her old patient? It
was both. I was going to mention her old patient because Jack is asking her about it. Also, to try and get a read on Hannibal. I don't know why. Because Hannibal was attacked by his patient. And so Jack's like, there's a lot of patient violence happening around this one specific guy. I'm just trying to figure out if that's intentional, because Will is now in his care and is not doing well.
Seemingly violent, yeah.
She explains that the patient that attacked her swallowed his tongue, and that was what saved her. And then later, when Bedelia is talking to Hannibal about Jack coming and questioning her, she says that she just said that the attacker swallowed his tongue, and she's like, I didn't tell him how or in what way. So, and I'm just like, okay, Hannibal cut out that man's tongue and fed it to him. And she knows. I love this show.
Skipping way ahead, since we're talking about both episodes in this episode, do you think she knew that she was eating Abigail? Like, how much of Hannibal does she know?
She knows him well enough to know that he is a well-tailored person suit. I don't want to believe that she knows that she's eating Hannibal in episode... Not Hannibal, Abigail. I don't want to believe that she knows she's eating Abigail.
You think she knows she's
13.
eating people?
I don't want to believe that either. Because she's just... If she does know that, she's just letting it happen.
Yeah, like, how close are they? Has she found human to be like a delicacy that she gets to eat with Hannibal, and that's why she maintains the relationship.
It's like veal, but then they kind of talk about it in like a fun little, like, oh, this is a controversial dish, veal, and like, yeah, they like, again, like, mirror each other's like silly cryptic talk.
They are. They talk in riddles. It's what my mom would say, is they talk in riddles. They speak the same language.
She definitely knows him very well, but to what extent? I'm sure their relationship and understanding is delved into even more later, but maybe not so much that we know how much she knows.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, she knows, like, he's really messed up. You can tell from the things that she said.
Yeah.
But
She's seen a man, or seen her. She's seen him cut off, or knows that he cut off someone's tongue.
Okay, so
Fed it to them, so that's in him. The ability. That doesn't really transfer to eating it, but
how
the idea's the
Hannibal
same.
sees Will as, like, an interesting person, and, like, he wants to explore Will more and push him to his limits, and he's just really interested in his brain. Maybe after she closed her practice after that whole thing with the person who attacked her and Hannibal, but continues to see Hannibal. Maybe she's just also really interested in, like, Hannibal's brain and him as a person, and, like, okay, let's continue to get to know this, because no one just, whether you're trying to save someone or not, no normal person is going to rip out someone's tongue and feed it to them. That's not a normal way to defend somebody.
Yeah.
So,
do you think she feels like she can't, like she has to keep him close? Because if she tells the police about that,
I think so.
First of all, like, why did he do that? Probably brings their relationship into question. And then if he finds out that she told the police, or if, I'm getting my pronouns all mixed up in my head after I say them, so I can't remember what I said. But yeah, if Hannibal finds out that his therapist told the police that he did that for her,
maybe she thinks she can fix him.
Maybe
she's waiting for him to confess something to her where she actually has something that she can turn in.
Do we think... No. Because she says that he swallowed his tongue while he was attacking her. I wonder if her patient attacked her but didn't follow through, and Hannibal found out and then went after the man and cut out his tongue and fed it to him, as opposed to her being attacked and Hannibal intervening and making him swallow his tongue.
Yeah.
Since you don't know, I'm guessing they don't go into it in season 2.
I don't remember a lot of her in season 2.
Okay.
She is there. I know
is she in
there.
the books?
I haven't read enough of them to know if she is in the books.
Okay. Someday I hope to find out about that attack, at least.
After Jack sees her, Hannibal sees her, and she's like, hey, lay off, Will. Be careful, because they're getting close. Which also makes you wonder more about what they're up to together. And that whole scene, you kind of feel like there's a weird, scary... Like Hannibal.
Yeah, she says that Jack came to see her and was asking about Hannibal, and he has, like, a pause. Again, like, when Will came to him to talk about Abigail, when he figured out that Abigail killed Nick Boyle, Hannibal has a pause of, like, do I have to kill this person right now? And it is scary. He has that pause, and I don't remember specifically what he says when he starts talking again, but he, like, walks around. He's standing at the window, and he walks around all of the furniture to come and sit down or stand next to her, and it's just so... listen, if I was in her situation and if Hannibal was my patient, I would be so afraid of him. Especially in that moment.
Yeah. Is this when Will runs to flies to Minnesota with Abigail?
No, not yet. Will then goes to talk to Hannibal about his copycat idea, about how all of these copycats and all of these things are all one copycat, not realizing he is talking to the copycat because the copycat has changed his person suit. And the fact that, I feel like we've talked about it before, but the fact that Will can't get a read on the copycat outside of now knowing that they are all the same is like, Hannibal, like Will, can put on these different shoes, but in a different way. He can assume the mental state of these other murderers to an extent, but like,
Yeah, so he almost puts on different, like, personalities or personas. So, Will trying to figure out who the copycat killer is, that's a whole different... It's not a real person. Yes, Hannibal did it, but it's not Hannibal, so he can't make that connection.
Exactly.
Same thing for any other personas he's assumed, like the Chesapeake Ripper. Ripper. I'm sure there have been others, but
absolutely.
they are all different personas and they're all different people, so he won't be able to. I'm sure at some point, someday, he will. He is obviously very close, but that's why it hasn't
next episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's why his brain isn't braining the way it brains.
Yeah. Will mentions to Hannibal that the only reason Georgia Machen is dead, because he doesn't think it was a suicide, is because she wasn't supposed to be there at the hospital with Dr. Sutcliffe, and the person who did kill Dr. Sutcliffe was trying to frame Will, which is Hannibal. But, like, Hannibal saw this, had to redirect his intentions because Georgia showed up, handing her the scissors that he used, and it's just so much. It's so much. And then that is when he gets the idea to bring Abigail back to her home. Why?
To try
Nick's
to
death.
Get back into the copy killers. Yeah.
Nick's death.
Copycat.
Hannibal.fandom.com says Hannibal wonders if Will thinks the copycat has something personal on him, and Will doesn't know, but plans to bring Abigail back to her home so they can retrace the events following Nick's death from the beginning. Hannibal, for obvious reasons, hates the idea. And then, previously, Jack had the forensic team try to piece together the different copycats to try and figure out what connects them, and Jack tries to piece together the evidence that they've found and has decided that Abigail is the copycat. And so, in thinking that, he goes to arrest Abigail, and she's not there because Will Graham sneaked her out, but Freddie is there because they were supposed to have a meeting, her and Abigail, and Jack's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "Well, what are you doing here?" And that's when she has the comment about Abigail being a very smart girl, not realizing that other very smart girls grow up and can recognize what you are doing.
Is she going to publish Abigail's book? That's my question.
Posthumously, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. If she didn't, I would question her.
I
knowing
would
who
too.
she is.
She's never held back on a story before.
Yeah.
This will get her name out there out of the tabloid realm and into biography.
So, Will has taken Abigail back to her home, specifically back to her father's murder shed upstairs with all the antlers. And he should have stayed in the hospital. He is not okay. He starts to have a freak out and realizes, being in that situation with her, realizes that on top of her having killed Nicholas Boyle, she had also been helping her father collect the girls. And he uses an analogy like her father was a hunter, he's a fisher. And he asks her, like, are you a hunter or a fisher? Were you the lure? And he has a hallucination where he picks her up and puts her on the antlers, which is a little freaky, but he hasn't. It's just a hallucination. And then he has a loss of time and wakes up in an airplane without Abigail. So he, in that time, she probably ran off, and in that time where he's lost time, just went back home. But he comes out of it and is like, was there a girl with me? I'm here alone now. Oh, and then she's still at home, and she goes home, and Hannibal is there. And they have a great heart-to-heart and just a fun chat together, and nothing wrong and horrible happens at all.
Go back home. All their body parts are where they should be.
You okay, Rachel?
Yeah. Poor Abigail. Just with one of her substitute dads. Thinks she can trust him.
Because she has previously with many secrets.
Yeah.
Not realizing that he has secrets of his own.
Mm-hmm. He just says outright that he killed Marissa to see what she would do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess, like, I was thinking just then, like, Hannibal doesn't trust anyone else with his secrets, but, like, he's, like, admitting to pushing her over the edge, or, like, trying to push her over the edge, and there's not really any way to come back from that.
Yeah. Abigail asks him why he called her dad that morning, and Hannibal says to see what he would do, which just falls into line. He just likes watching these weird situations play out. He always is just, like, standing back and watching, and being in there with Hannibal, not knowing he's a murderer, you'd think he's just, like, an observer, because you have faith in him that he doesn't murder and eat people.
Even with Georgia, he gave her the comb. He didn't do the active killing. He just gave her a comb and saw what would happen. Same thing. Yeah. Just a lot of, what if I do this to Will? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll tell this person this.
Yep. And then Abigail asks Hannibal if he plans to kill her.
Does he say? He says sorry, right?
I don't remember. I've blocked it out. I've created a different ending in my own mind. Oh, because Abigail then dies exactly where she was supposed to die in episode 1.
Mm.
In her kitchen. Relevé.
So it refers to a dish that would be served before the entree, which I guess will be our finale, in order to
That's next episode.
replace or relive it. Those words are in quotes. And it's like...
Okay. Everything that happens in this
everything
episode
that goes
makes
back.
sense
Going back to Minnesota and like reliving that and
rehashing everything.
Will replacing the, like, people are thinking that he is the killer, that he's the copycat,
Yeah.
so he's like taking the place of that. Not really, but everyone thinks he is. But he's in the position.
Entree of Hannibal.
I have another question. How bad do we feel for Abigail?
It's difficult. It's
difficult to feel bad for her?
No, it's complicated. That's my feelings are complicated because at this point she is still coming out of like a manipulative relationship with her father.
Yeah.
And even if there were some powerful feelings, she said that when she killed herself. I don't know if she really felt that way when picking out the girls, but even if that's such a traumatic situation, like if your dad wants to kill you, so you have to help him find these girls so that he doesn't kill you. So even if at some point she did feel any power coming from that, she probably had to do that in order to survive. Like, she had to feel that way in order to survive with doing what she was doing. So, honestly, I do feel really bad for her because she's gone through so much trauma and she hasn't had a time to recover from that yet. It hasn't been very long since the beginning of the season. She's just barely escaped her father's clutches, and she's been through a lot, and it's not like she made the choice. It was literally a life or death situation. Maybe not so imminent, but her life was on the line if she didn't help her father. Plus, just the whole... We kind of talked about this a while back, I think, but when you are growing up with something, it takes a while for you to come into your own and realize, oh, that's not normal, or I have to get out of this, or, if you're being raised with a certain mindset, or you're being told that this is the way it is, or this is your only experience. And then I imagine even more so for people in a cult-like situation, or if you are, I don't know, was captured in a basement or something, like you don't know anything else. But adding in that like her life was on the line and that her father wanted to kill, like, I do feel really bad for her. Like, she's fairly normal considering all of that, and I feel like if she was allowed to live, she could become a totally normal person at some point, whatever totally normal looks like. I just mean she could really heal and not feel good about killing people. Really, she only killed one person on her own, and it was a tense situation.
She was an accessory to murder.
Yeah, it's because how old is she? Her brain is literally still developing. She's what, 18? 17?
She's like 17.
Yeah, college age.
Could you imagine? I don't know how long it was happening.
She's a kid,
but even just all the hunting, I don't want to say propaganda, because I know people hunt and it's but like the way her dad felt about it though, like all that like brainwashing with the hunting and then leading up to that, like,
yep.
I do feel, now I feel really bad for her. I shouldn't have went on this whole tangent. I feel horrible for her now.
No.
How am I supposed to go on to the next episode now? No.
And then just having all of that from her father to be placed into the arms of Hannibal Lecter.
Literally.
This poor girl. And feeling like he's safe and then learning he's not.
Yeah, jeez. And then dying.
I got tears. I'm literally crying right now. It's fine.
Oh.
I feel very bad for Abigail now. The only goodness in her life post dad would have been Alana.
Mm-hmm.
But fortunately, there were too many other elements. Yeah. Poor Abigail. Someone just tweeted about how great a job the actress did as Abigail, and just really brought a lot of life into that character.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she retweeted it or like replied to it or something. And they were really excited, but that was cute. But yeah, she did really do a good job. And now that she's gone, I don't have any reasons to come up to make me dislike her. Because you can always, when characters stick around for a while, you're like, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't like you so much anymore. But
Yeah.
good thing I decided to fall in love with her right before she died.
Worst.
Great for the heart.
I'm so sorry.
This is
I
why I
could go
don't
back
attach
in
myself to
time.
characters.
It's dangerous business.
Yeah. What do we think of season 1 finale, episode 13?
Sorry, breathing onto my mic.
Also,
I really enjoy this episode.
Like, I feel like you feel it coming,
Oh, yeah.
but you like are in denial until you're watching it, and then it like feels right, but in like a really frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Like we
it was
mentioned,
a good episode.
all the puzzle pieces, everybody's putting puzzle pieces in the wrong place, but Hannibal is the one cutting out the puzzle pieces and handing them to them. The puzzle ends up looking exactly how he wants it to. That little smile at the end from him. Oh!
Disgusting.
Is that the first time all season we've seen him like smile like that? I feel like I don't know.
Like it could be.
We've seen him smile like whatever, but like
kind of smirks when Will talks about him in his lectures, but
Yeah.
not like.
Not like that.
He had Will smile to see if he was having a stroke, and then he smiled.
Yeah.
I liked one of the last scenes there when he was coming down the hallway, and as he walked past each light, and his face came into the light, and then was covered in shadows again. And each time, I liked that. Yeah, it was.
Just thinking about all the murder victims as the sculptures in Hannibal's office. That wasn't really there, obviously, but that was
I like that scene.
Nice visual.
It was in Will's mind of remembering all of those murders, but I do really like it was creepy, and while he's also being stalked by the entity that he sees that is no longer an elk, it is Hannibal with the elk antlers. Season 1 episode 13 starts the way many episodes have started, with Will Graham waking up not feeling well. He goes, vomits in the kitchen sink, and there is an ear
Whole ear. Unchewed.
A whole entire ear unchewed. And like any rational human, the first thing he does is calls Hannibal.
Okay, I understand that Will has times of, like, being unaware of what's going on. Like, he's functioning as normal, but doesn't remember. And I understand how easy it would be to plant blood underneath the fingernails. Mm-hmm. But how do you either have someone swallow a whole ear or just stick it down their throat without waking them up or causing them to not breathe? Or
they show the act in season 2, but I don't know spoilers.
Okay. No. I will look forward to that, I guess. I'm glad that they show how it happens, because that really had me like, how does he even do this? Come on.
I, for some reason, I remembered them showing it at the end of episode 13, but they don't. They show it in season 2. It's still more stressful, but when they show it, I mean, we know, but when they show it in season 2, it's like a moment for Will. Like, it feels like, finally something is going right for him. Kind of.
Okay. Yeah. A lot has to happen between 12 and 13.
And so Hannibal shows up and does a really good acting job being very concerned and upset for Will and the ear in his sink. And Will tells him he went to Minnesota with Abigail, and Abigail didn't come back with him, but Hannibal knows that. And Hannibal says, we've got to call Jack. They call Jack, and Jack arrests Will and takes all his dogs. And that scene is so sad with all the dogs being taken away.
Yeah.
They've got Will in the back of a car, and Winston stands there and is looking at him very, very sad. And it is a very sad moment. Yeah. I know I've mentioned it before, but like the last few episodes of our podcast has just been us sighing.
10-hour cut of all the sighs.
The sigh cut. Yeah. And then Alana finds out that Will's been arrested and goes absolutely bananas on Jack. That actress is so good in that scene.
Yes.
She has a full, like, you said you could take care of him, and you did not take care of him, and this is where we are now. Jack says he was trusting Hannibal's judgment, which, right there, follow that through line, Jack.
Yes.
Jack makes a comment that he's surprised as anybody that Will did this to Abigail, and it's her blood under his fingernails and on his hands. And Alana's like, no, her blood is on all of our hands. And then she goes and has a screaming fit in her car.
As she should.
As she should. And then she goes and has a interview with Will, probably similar to how she usually does with criminal investigations, and she has brought in, she's going to do a few psychiatric tests on him, and he makes a comment about the clocks that Hannibal has been having him draw, and she asks if the clocks look normal, and he says, if they had, would I be here? And she has him draw a clock, and she sees that he has drawn a messed up clock. Which is just like one quick little like, ooh, maybe this will help. It does not.
Because then the FBI finds all of the little bits and pieces of all the victims of the copycat in Will's fishing lures back at his house.
So every time Hannibal took care of his dogs, when he was checking out the lures early on in the episode, just putting little pieces in there from people. And then that, aside from them already thinking Will killed Abigail, now they have evidence of all these other victims, and it's like everything Will's done is out the window, and they're thinking, wow, so we've been listening to this guy tell us, oh, this person did the murder and this person did the murder, but it was him all along. Are any of those murderers still alive? Like, that would call into question, like, oh, they are in prison for a crime they didn't commit, even though they did. I feel like half of them are dead. But
I think it's more just not so much all of the murders, but instead the copycat killings.
Yeah.
All of,
okay.
In the fishing
Not
lures,
like the
they
fire.
finding all of the copycat killings, murders, victims, like their hair and things like that. Even all the way to Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So they're thinking, okay, well, he, even all the way back to Cassie Boyle, he has been not okay.
But he doesn't believe that. He's like, okay, I could have killed Abigail because I literally don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
And there's all this evidence of me killing her, including, the ear. But he's like, there's no way I did all these. Like, I was okay then. I wasn't losing time. I would have known.
Alana thinks that too. And, yeah, Jack, exactly what Rachel just said. Jack then goes and tells Will that they found all of this evidence in his fishing lure, and Jack reads him his Miranda rights, and he is officially under arrest. And then as they're transporting him to the facility, he has taken notes from
Which is such a bad
Dr.
sign.
Gideon, and breaks his thumb and breaks out of his handcuffs. Maybe doesn't break his thumb, but like dislocates it to get out of his handcuffs. And thankfully, he doesn't murder everybody in the van. He just escapes. They're all fine. He just escapes.
How does he get out if he doesn't
opens
kill
the
them?
door. I don't know.
Okay.
He hasn't killed those people in the van.
Okay, that's good.
He's just, like, debilitated them. And then he's on the run. And Jack, Alana, and Hannibal have gotten together to discuss Will, and Alana shows them the clock he has drawn, and we know it's messed up, and Hannibal brings out, well, he drew a clock for me the other time, and it looks perfectly normal, and that is so just... I have never hated and loved a fictional character as much as I do Hannibal Lecter.
I think that was one of the most frustrating moments. It was so simple, but it just... Oh, I just wish I could see all the clocks. And to think that he thought ahead and fabricated this
Yeah.
in his
because Alana
writing.
has said, well, this could be encephalitis, which is exactly what Will has. And Hannibal shows them the normal clock that Hannibal has drawn.
And signed as Will. And dated.
Signed as Will.
Like
and
kindergarten homework.
Jack asks about the one he drew for Alana. Like, could he have faked that one? And Alana's like, well, sure. And then that just puts into whatever. But, like, nobody's thinking, could Hannibal have faked this one? Because they all trust Hannibal. He's given them no reason to not trust Hannibal.
If there was even like one little tiny seed of distrust, maybe they would have done like handwriting analysis or something on the signature. It was so just there, but maybe Hannibal would have even
Hannibal's probably
copied
just so
the signature.
good.
Yeah.
He's great at everything. He can smell your sickness and your perfume, and he sharpens his pencils with a scalpel. Of course, he can imitate handwriting. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
I'm with Alana in her car screaming.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Jack and Alana leave, Hannibal is in his office, and he knows Will is there. Will is there hiding.
We found from the deleted scene that he visited Alana first, but that's not in the published show. But that was that was interesting. His first stop would have been Alana. He saw his dogs, and then when he gets to Hannibal, Hannibal says that he scared Alana, and Will's up on his little library.
The ledge. And Hannibal asks him how he's feeling, and Will says self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like deconstruct all the past crimes.
Yeah.
And we see all of the victims as like statues in Hannibal's office, which is cool.
Excuse me. And that is it. Previously, it had just been the elk, and it has transformed into the emaciated man. The what?
The antlered man.
The antler man. He's emaciated, and he's got antlers and the face of Hannibal, but nobody's going to connect those dots, because Will's the only one who can see it.
Just slowly over the course of the entire season, he has finally realized that the stag, since the beginning of the season, has made its appearance and grown closer and louder, and finally it's all come back to Hannibal.
I don't think Will connects those dots yet, though.
Not yet, but just about.
And then Will asks Hannibal to bring him to Minnesota. To try to relive Abigail's death.
Yes. To see where Abigail died, and Jack and Alana, Hannibal is missing now, so they obviously think that Will has taken Hannibal hostage, and of course Hannibal lets that play out. And while they're at Abigail's house, Will is able to connect the dots of everything else, realizing that from the beginning it was Hannibal doing all these things, and
because Hannibal talks a little bit about how he's a loner, and they like kind of talk more about themselves in a way that they haven't yet, and Will puts together the pieces of like, this fits who I think would have done this and this and this. And then he says, I am who I've always been, the scales have just fallen from my eyes. And he says that Hannibal, or just makes the connection that Hannibal is the copycat killer, and the Ripper.
I don't think the Ripper, just the copycat killer right now.
And he points a gun at Hannibal, and I said he should have killed him, but you made the good point of that would not look good at all.
No.
And as he has the gun on Hannibal, Jack comes in because he thinks rightfully that they are both in Minnesota, except Jack assumes that Will is holding Hannibal hostage, and
sure enough, it looks like it.
Sure, when you've got a gun on a man, there's only so many things people are gonna think. And Jack walks in and incapacitates. Is that how you pronounce that word? Will, shoots him in the arm, and Will lands exactly where Garret Jacob Hobbs did, and we've come complete full circle, and he even says the last thing that Garret Jacob Hobbs says, where he says, "See," and we cut to Will seeing Hannibal as the antlered man standing next to Jack, which obviously Jack doesn't see, but Will can see in that moment, okay, this is exactly who this man has been this entire time. And it's just a little too late.
Yeah.
But I love these last 2 episodes coming full circle with the whole season, how it started and how it's ended. Everybody, because this whole season, Will has been resisting turning himself into Garret Jacob Hobbs, only to be in that last moment again. And Will doesn't die, thankfully.
Hannibal turns him into Garret Jacob Hobbs.
Yep. Hannibal has spent the whole season fostering Garret Jacob Hobbs inside of Will. Rachel, you look so upset.
Did you see spoilers?
No.
Oh, okay. That's always my first thought.
I don't have the words to comprehend this ending.
Yeah.
I wish I did. This is the podcast. But that requires words.
I was gonna say, well, we're here to talk.
Yeah.
But I totally understand. It's like, ugh. Especially, I know I've mentioned it in episodes past, but like, spending this whole time just like loving Will's character and just watching him fall down over and over and over again. It's just so, could something good happen to this poor man?
Right.
No.
Just everything that's gone on this whole season, and Will actually being sick and Hannibal knowing and not helping him and
making him worse.
But if Hannibal is trying to create a murderer out of Will, and he thinks he already has it in him, and wouldn't him being sick be like taking the easy way out? Like, why not do it when he's healthy, like a healthy brain? Because Hannibal's not like physically sick, he's sick, but he's not physically sick, and he does all that. So how can it be satisfying in the end if you are taking a man with a sick brain who can actually be on medication to help his brain? It just feels like that wouldn't feel very successful. That just be going on easy mode.
Yeah.
When he's talking to the doctor who is treating Will, the one that he... I remember if he kills him. Yeah.
Okay.
At first about how like no one has ever gotten to like research someone with encephalitis without them knowing, and like there's certain things you could do when they don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there is part of Hannibal as like someone who likes to create situations and then watch what happens. Like he wants to see what this does to Will's brain.
Yeah.
And is taking advantage of it.
See how far he can push it.
Yeah.
With Dr. Sutcliffe, Dr. Sutcliffe was suggesting if we don't treat him, this is easily treatable, but if we don't treat him, we can see the effects on the brain for as far as it can go. And that's sick. That's so messed up to be like...
that's why Hannibal
exactly, Hannibal set up as Will's psychiatrist, not being a psychiatrist to him, instead insisting, let's be friends, and not actually doing the job that he's meant to do, and just letting Will run his course, making all, like we say all the time, making all these weird little situations for him and just seeing what happens. That's all Hannibal wants to do. He wants to eat rude people, and he just wants to see what happens.
Yeah, he's like an alien, just researching people. Not to like give him an out, because he is like a person, like, a human being doing this to other human beings.
Yeah.
But
he's a fascinating character.
And will Alana pick up on clues with, like, Hannibal?
or will Alana die? I'm looking at Daly's face as we say all these things about Alana.
Oh no. When Jack says Will was okay to keep working based on what Hannibal said, and even though she saw Will's clock drawing and they said, oh, well, he could have faked it, but Hannibal was already ready with a clock drawing, and, like, I don't know, I just feel like she could pick up on Hannibal just always being there and always having something to do with everything going on. I think it was a good season finale.
Absolutely.
I liked all of the callbacks to different episodes in the beginning, and Garret Jacob Hobbs being there throughout the whole season, and everything coming full circle.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder what will be the theme in season 2, and if there's going to be any continued themes. And like, this whole season really came back to Garret Jacob Hobbs and Abigail. Abigail's gone now. So
I was thinking earlier about, after I read that thing about Abigail and Freddie being like two versions of the same person, like past and future, or possible past and future, and her dad is kind of like a version of who she could be too. And then we have Will with like Jack. He could become a Jack maybe in the future if he like goes through the FBI, or he could be Hannibal if he goes the other way. So I wonder how much of like those split paths, and if we see other characters who they're not really like foils of each other. They're more like, I don't know, like would that be a mirror? Or just like some prediction or version, I guess. I don't know.
And then, while Will is in the hospital recovering, Jack and Will talk about how I don't remember what they talk about. Something about how Hannibal didn't pick up on, like, he didn't get, like, murderer vibes from Will, and he's just in shock of everything that has happened and gone down. And our very last scene is Will in the hospital where we knew he was going to end up, where Hannibal's come to visit him, and he walks down the hall, the nice long hallway, which is probably bringing to mind Clarice in Silence of the Lambs, walking down the hall to see Hannibal.
Last cell on the left.
Yep. And Hannibal, does he say hello? I can't remember.
I think they say hello.
Hello, Will. And Will stands up, and he does not look very happy. And Hannibal's he's got his arms folded with his jacket, and he's just smiling. Just a nice, big, friendly smile from our lovely person suit.
Gross.
It's a hard episode. I think just everything was just so frustrating, but I'm looking forward to more. I want to see what happens next, but
I'm looking forward to Pushing Daisies, because I know it does have dark themes, but
it's funny.
I'm not going to be watching somebody spiraling for 13 episodes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So it's hard seeing, like, the bad guy, like, winning.
Yeah.
Basically.
That's exactly
to put it simply. With that last scene.
Yeah. I was going to ask a stupid question. I was going to ask, do you guys think Will did it? We know he didn't.
Yeah, I do.
So, what is predictions for season 2?
Oh.
What do you think's going to happen in season 2?
Well, what's that guy's name? Chilton, is he still there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is alive.
everyone's going to be poking at Will's brain.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted to do that before, and now they actually get a chance to. So that's going to be fun. Hopefully he gets the medical help for the encephalitis. Okay, let's think about who is... What?
He has to get out of there somehow, right?
Yes.
The whole season isn't in...
Well, I was going to say,
be,
let's
though.
think about who's still alive. Is Tobias
That was my
still
next
alive?
question, is who do you think is going to die? No, Tobias is dead.
Oh, I can't
saw
remember
that.
He died that episode.
Too many deaths. Okay, yeah. Well, because I remember he was gonna go somewhere, but yeah, he died.
No, Hannibal hit him in the head with the elk
We
stick.
didn't see
yeah.
Dr. Gideon die. We just saw him get shot. Looking at Daly's face.
That's the one
He was just brought
who
down.
thought he was the Chesapeake Ripper and then didn't anymore. Okay, yes.
Yep.
I'm really bad at names. Okay, and gosh, there's not really...
Are we
No
naming
one
like
else is...
murderers or serial killers?
Are we naming the ones who are still alive?
Yeah, the ones that are still alive out of, like... Okay, I know, like, the forensic team, they're all still alive. Alana's still alive. Hannibal, obviously. Jack and his wife are still alive. Freddy's still alive. Hannibal's therapist is still alive. I think that's pretty much
Yes.
everyone. And then Dr. Gideon. Is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
From characters that we know right now, anyway.
Who do you think is going to die next season? Out of that cast.
Beverly, Alana, Will's entire support team, Jack's wife.
That wouldn't make sense.
Maybe Jack at some point. I don't know if it'll be next season. But just kill everyone at this point. I don't expect anyone to stay alive.
My half joking idea of Hannibal feeding Jack to Will somehow feels like there's something there. He fed Abigail to Will.
Yeah.
That was absolutely Abigail at the end. He said it was Veal. It's not Veal.
Right. And of course he said
He
it
had
was
some
Veal.
evidence to get rid of.
Yeah.
I'll get back to what I was going to say. As far as predictions go, I don't know. Maybe there's going to be somebody else there. Like, I'm just trying to think about, like, the Silence of the Lambs movie and stuff. Maybe Freddy will, like, come visit him, and they can... I know they hate each other, but maybe they can, like, figure some stuff out. Because somehow he's going to have to get, like, more information or evidence or something to turn around on Hannibal to get out of... I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm trying to...
A lot happened these last 2 episodes. It makes it hard to be like, what's going to happen next?
When Will gets out, he's going to have a rendezvous with Alana. And they're going to get freaky. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. But I guess there's going to be something for us to reboard the Hanagram train. So I don't know how can we
Yeah.
That was my third question, is how are we feeling about Hanagram?
Absolutely not, but except gift sets. Like, I just love
the gift sets are really good.
We
Pretty to
love
look at together.
Yes, they are very pretty to look at together, but it's like
Watching it in action is a little different.
Gosh, no.
I get the like
Appeal
feels like a weird word, but like the like toxicity is kind of like exciting just to watch and like the tension of like, but
I feel like with
I can't seriously
this series,
be on
it feels so real. Whereas a lot of other fiction, especially when you get into more like manga and stuff, where it's like, it definitely doesn't feel real. I feel like it's easier to ship toxic couples when it doesn't feel real. This feels so realistic, and I have so many feelings, towards, like, feeling bad for Will, and just seeing him as a person and not just a fictional character. But I feel like that it's harder to ship it. But I'm sure from what the internet has shown me, there must
we'll
be
see in
something.
season 3.
Yes, my prediction is that something will spark the Hanagram train again in me. We'll see. I don't know.
In season 3.
I don't know
Today,
how.
just this morning on Instagram, I saw, it was either Instagram or Tumblr, I can't remember, it doesn't matter. I saw something from season 3, and I was like, okay, maybe I get it.
Oh, no. Well, what would have to happen for us to get back on it?
They need to become equals. Right now they're not equals because Hannibal has a lot of power over Will in the way that he treats his brain.
Will to be an equal is to
Is he going to actually be a serial killer?
And I don't want him to, so
I don't want him to either.
I would support that.
I don't want to see that either.
I
if
do
they
like...
were... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, if they were both in the hospital together and, like, ganging up against Chilton or something, that would be fine. But
mine was going to be the opposite, because I was going to say I like shows or stories where, like, there's a bad guy and the guy who's chasing him and he always, like, just barely gets away and there's, like, some sparks there. So that would be, like, outside of the hospital.
That's like Killing Eve.
I have to watch
Killing Eve is like that.
3 episodes of it.
Yeah.
I only watched the first season. Oof. Okay, well, this is also the last episode of our season 1.
Isn't that wild?
How did we get this far?
How do you feel, Daly? How do you feel about it? It's your little brainchild.
Accomplished. I feel accomplished. It started out, and we're in a different place than we started, but at the same time, that feels okay. And I feel... I might cry when I publish this. I'll let you know. Just because it's like, regardless of anything, it's good to start something and make something and finish it. And we're not, like, done. We're gonna watch more shows and movies and maybe talk about books and stuff, but, like...
Feels good.
Yeah, it feels good. And I get to talk to my cousins more. Lots of my cousins.
That's my favorite part. We're all makers. Like, we're all creators. But I don't think that... Liz, I know you had some shows in college, but I feel like all 3 of us haven't really put, like, a lot into the world of, like, what we make.
Yeah.
And, like, put ourselves... I don't want to say into the public eye, but we could potentially be in the public eye. Anyone could look us up. So I think that's really cool because, like, we made this space for ourselves to put out something that we made, and that's really exciting. And
we've never collaborated with each other, and I like getting to hear what you guys think about things. And I like working together. It's fun.
Yeah. It was fun. And it will be fun when we do more. But this
after
season
our
1, look at that
summer break.
So we talked about predictions for season 2 of Hannibal. We can talk about season 2 for us and other things that we loosely may plan. So season 2 for us will be Pushing Daisies. Okay.
I'm excited about that. We're going to have a small summer break where we do, I think either for July, we're just going to do some offhanded, silly things maybe, and to get ourselves into Lee Pace brain for Pushing Daisies, we're going to watch Bodies, Bodies, Bodies,
Nice.
which I know has a murderer in it, and it's like a little murder mystery movie. I haven't seen it yet.
Is that the one where he's the dumb? Yes. Okay, I wanted to watch that.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that. And then starting in late summer, early fall, we'll start season 2.
Woohoo.
So excited.
That's exciting. I know I said it before, but I am very excited for Pushing Daisies because
I am too. I'm so
someone
excited.
used to suggest things to me, and they were always really good at like just nailing the things I liked. And they were like, "You would really like this," and I could never find it. And so that was like 10 years ago. So I'm very excited because it's been in like the back of my brain for a long time, and I hope I love it. We'll see. We'll see if their predictions are correct. I haven't talked to them in a long time. It was an old coworker. Maybe I'll just text them after I watch it and say, "Hey, I finally watched Pushing Daisies," and did a podcast with my cousins about it.
And here's the link, you can listen to it.
Yeah, here you go.
And this is exciting for me because I haven't watched Pushing Daisy. I haven't watched Pushing Daisies, but Liz has.
Ever?
I've seen episode 1.
Oh.
I started watching it back when it was harder to find things on streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So I was probably on like
most of it.
I was probably on a pirating website trying to find it.
Yeah, now it's on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Or now it's Max, just Max.
Then we'll
Just
have to
Max.
find something that I've watched and neither of you have watched.
Yeah, that'll be fun. And then we'll get back to Hannibal.
Then we'll get back to Hannibal.
Do you feel like after we've just finished season 1, do you feel like you need a break from it, or do you want to get right back
I was just about to say, I feel like it's going to be hard to wait that long to watch Hannibal season 2.
I feel like having a separation from it will be good, though.
Yeah, it'll be good to come into it with like a fresh brain that hasn't
Fresh eyes. I'll have to rewatch all of season 2.
With us?
Oh, with you, obviously.
Okay, good. Thought before we watch it together again.
No. Because I remember bits and pieces. I remembered more of season 1 because I watched it more times than season 2. I might have only seen season 2 once, but I remember key moments that happen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's
season
better
1
than me.
does feel really rewatchable. Like it's a nice little. It could be its own
good
story.
Closed circle.
Yeah.
You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, this happens much sooner than I remember. I remember this being the end of the episode.
I can be your only support group, Will.
Mm. Oh. Oh no.
Earth. Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Jeez Louise. Why would they let her have that if that's a possibility?
Gosh.
Do you want spoilers?
No.
Did
Okay.
Hannibal give her the comb? Stinking
This is
garbage man.
Yeah, I
Oh
remember
my
that being the end
gosh.
of the episode.
Oh my gosh.
Throwing him right away. Oh.
hate
Ooh,
that.
that. Oh.
I hate that.
Oh my god.
Very Nightmare Before Christmas. No!
Oh my god.
Can I tell you it gets worse?
Stop! Oh my god. Every
They're
sentence
putting together
it gets
such
worse.
a good story, but
Yep.
it's not a trap.
You look a little pasty.
Like Abigail Hobbs can say that. They finally showed them using a plane to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't done that since episode 1.
Oh no. No.
Oh my god! We'll check in. You never.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
Checking to see how many minutes we have left.
Mm.
4 minutes.
No. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh my god. And here's one more.
Put that thumb away. Jeez Louise.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. It was really dark. Was that actually Hannibal's face?
Maybe.
Feral. I want to turn it off. Ooh.
I'm leaving. Oh my god, Will. Oh my god. What on earth?
This is why I wanted to watch it together.
What?
Just a whole ear?
And of course he called Hannibal.
I mean, Hannibal is well versed in eating ears, I'm sure. I don't know, how often do you eat an ear?
He doesn't know he didn't kill Abigail either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did Hannibal feed Abigail to Will? Gotta look at her.
That's not fair. Wouldn't you have digested the ear from the time he saw her, though? Like,
Well, someone just stuffed it down.
Hannibal's a good actor.
I was just thinking the same thing.
What's he getting out of this?
Oh, I don't know.
Open some pretzels. The dogs.
They better keep those puppies safe.
No.
Winston.
It better be really messed up.
I was about to say, watch it be normal after all that.
Don't cry me a river, Hannibal.
You jerk. No.
Oh my gosh.
Watch this. Oh my god.
Beat Hannibal up. Oh my god.
The faith these people have in Hannibal is baffling. Oh.
Oh. Kill him. Kill him.
That'll look great. See? See? Oh my
Stop
god.
it.
Oh, the antlers. Oh my god.
I thought that was it. What else could there be?
Imagine that was the end. Do you think that's Abigail? Do you think that's Abigail?
Smells like a bonfire.
Veal.
Hmm.
What?
Wow.
That's season 1 of Hannibal.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe we made it. Barely. Literally. I
want to know if people knew that season 2 was coming before they ended.
Oh, probably not.
Oh.
Because this was back in the times when streaming wasn't huge yet, and this was premiering on TV once a week. So they would get to the end of the season. and be lucky enough to be like, we're getting season 2.
Oh my gosh.
If we didn't get a season 2, that would have been a frustrating but good ending. Because it's not how that story goes, but that was a good ending to a season.
Yeah. This one aired June 20th, 2013, and then season 2 started February 20th, 2014. It's not that long
so
wait, but like...
So if they announced it, they could have known because the people
Yeah.
would have already been working on it at that point.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
But that's 8 months of waiting to see what the heck.
And we're watching it almost 10 years after because it's June 2023. So we're watching it in June. That's funny.
Wow.
The DVD had a deleted scene where Will visited Alana after he escaped custody before he goes to see Hannibal.
Oh.
Interesting.
Should we watch it?
Yeah, I was going to see if I could look it up.
Sit. Okay.
Alana, please don't scream.
I wasn't going to, but you saying that sort of makes me think I should.
I'll stand over here. It'll make you feel safer.
You can't be here, Will. I can't harbor you.
I know. Just got a little confused. Needed to get my bearings. It's good to see the dogs. Thought I wasn't gonna see them again.
You have to go to a doctor. What's happening to you can be treated. This disease, it's attacking the way that you're thinking. But everything you're feeling, the confusion, the doubt, it can all go away if you let it.
If I don't find out who's doing this to me, I'll be going away. They already think I did it. They'll diagnose me with something, and they'll keep diagnosing me, and they will keep being wrong.
And I don't know how to help you.
Alana, I'm not a killer.
Take my car. It's parked on the street. Please, Will, you have to go to a hospital.
That was pretty slick, too. You just unlocked your car doors, didn't you? You flashed the lights. They'll be waiting for me out there.
If there was someone out there, don't you think they would already have come through the door?
No, I don't, because they know I could kill you before they got up those stairs. Goodbye, Lana.
Says that Will scared Alana when Will is in Hannibal's office, hiding in his office.
Ah. Don't remember that. Okay.
That does make sense.
Okay.
I was kind of scared. That was scary. I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when somebody you think has murdered 4 people shows up at your house. Oh, the dogs, though. Just so sad. This very chaotic wild roller coaster that has been watching Will Graham decline. Against his will.
Yeah. Against his will. Will.